Hi, and welcome to Safe Space. I'm your host, the artistic psychologist. This podcast aims to end the stigma surrounding mental health, one conversation at a time. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy. Welcome back to My COVID Story, a series we're running where we will be sharing stories from different individuals about their personal experiences during the pandemic. We hope that this series will help you find the courage to share your experiences, as well as make room to listen to other people's experiences. And in doing so, we hope that you will develop more empathy and compassion for yourself and others, and that you will find healing and peace. Today, I have my friend Yvonne on the show. Hi. How are you?
I'm okay.
How are you feeling?
Excited.
Okay, cool. I am glad to have you here. I fondly refer to Yvonne as Vovo or Baby Bear, and we've been friends for a long time. Yeah? How many years now? Many, since like primary class 1, I guess. We became better friends later on, but yeah, we've been friends for a long time. Okay then, so we're obviously talking about the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
So to start us off, take us back to 2020 March, right? When the pandemic officially began, at least in our country.
Yeah.
Do you recall the beginning of the pandemic? How did you feel then? Did you have any expectations of how things would turn out?
Yeah, so in March is actually when in March, I remember when I saw the president and all the people on the media saying there's a virus, and I was like, oh really? It's nice. I don't believe you, but okay. So we just continued with life normally until now the first case, and I was like, oh, so this is actually something important we should be paying attention to. So started to get a bit nervous. I journaled. I thought I could be the statistics major. So I would write, today we have 25 cases. So judging by how many days it has gone, this is how many cases there should be. So I was projecting. So I'm thinking in 10 days we'll have this many cases. But the cases were growing exponentially. So that made me panic. And I was like, okay, let me just pray and let that math go, because it was not happening the way I wanted it to happen. So I started getting scared, and I got scared.
It's interesting that you said that you took to, noting down the number of cases per day. Were you doing that because it gave you a sense of control?
Yep. I was thinking maybe if this day is equal to this, then the next day will be this.
Like a math formula.
Yeah. So therefore, there's no need to panic. Just relax, guys. But when they were growing the way they were growing, it really made me see that this is some crazy stuff.
Yeah. I remember back in March. For me, March is my birthday month. We had just had our birthday celebration. Then, they announced the whole lockdown thing. And in my mind, I just thought like, oh, they announced the virus. It wasn't lockdown yet. And I thought, okay, this is just going to be like, maybe 1 month, 2 months. Then, X months later, we're still in the pandemic. Yeah. In the beginning, we really just thought it was just like something else, that we deal with in 2 seconds, then we move on with life. But it turned out to be something totally different.
Totally.
Well, okay. So living in and dealing with the pandemic is already quite challenging for most of us. And you not only had to navigate this, but you also had to navigate pregnancy and childbirth. Yeah. And I can only imagine how stressful that must have been. Take us back to when you discovered you were expecting. How was that for you?
So I discovered in mid-April.
2020?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, I was scared to tell my parents, but they were just like, okay, if you're happy with it, then it's okay. So then the first thing when I found out I was pregnant was, I'll never take this baby out because of a pandemic. So she'll never have fresh air. And if we have fresh air, it will be through the window. And as in, just that was where my thoughts went fast. Like, your baby is not going to be a normal baby, because they never have the normal experiences that other babies do. So then going for clinics, you have to go. My husband was my husband was not allowed to come for the clinics, because now it was one person in the room with the doctor, so that was a bit discouraging, because of course you want to share the experiences and show him when the baby kicks and the scans. So the only one that he was able to come for was for the gender reveal, and that one we really had to beg the doctors, because we were like, please come on, he's not come for anything, so at least just this one. So he got that one, he got that appointment. And childbirth was hectic.
Before we get into the childbirth, so already for the clinics you had to go on your own?
Alone,
alone. 100% alone. I can imagine. How did that feel? Was it lonely, scary?
It was scary, but also a bit, I can't say empowering, because I learned that I can take care of myself, and I'm going to take care of this child, and we're gonna be fine regardless of what pandemic is happening. I got this baby and I got myself. But it was scary, especially I was using public transport, so people in matatus are not so kind if your bump is not showing. So you're busy there trying to navigate, people are trying to push. So there was a time I got an elbow in my stomach, and I was like, okay. Okay. So but otherwise it was okay. It wasn't so bad.
That's beautiful that you found it empowering as well. That's actually pretty interesting. And would you say that your pregnancy is an experience that you imagined for yourself?
No. It was a pleasant surprise, as you say. So the home experience was already overwhelming, because I had opinions from everyone about how I should be carrying my pregnancy, or what I'm wearing, and so many things, so many opinions on so many irrelevant things. So it wasn't what I expected, but I survived.
You did, and here you are today. Okay then. What would you say were your main worries and concerns when it came to pregnancy and childbirth, like during the pandemic? You already mentioned one. You thought, like, your kid won't have fresh air, you won't be able to take them out. Was there anything else?
Interacting with other kids and other people, especially at the hospital when I was giving birth. I was scared that the baby, of course, would be stolen. That is a common.
That's actually it. I don't know if it happens in other countries, but I know here
it's bad.
It's a thing. Yeah.
That was my biggest concern. I was really not looking forward to childbirth because of that. I would rather she had have stayed forever if it was going to come to that. Also, giving birth is an experience. So I was scared of dying. Because birth it can go anyway. And then of course my child now getting the virus, that was a big concern.
Okay, I think that's the first time I've had someone actually express their fear of death, when they're going to give birth. And that's, I think, a reality for many women, because birth is actually quite brutal. I think it amazes me that the female body can do that. That's crazy. And do that and then, get past it and heal and do it again and again.
And again.
Again. Yeah, it's something that's quite fascinating to me. I think even from the process of just conception, because there's so much that can go wrong in between then to the point where you give birth.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can only imagine. Well, okay. But here you are today.
Here I am.
Okay. So what was your labor and delivery like? Considering that you give birth during a pandemic, I imagine that it was different because usually I guess somebody can go in with you. No, already during the clinics, nobody can go with you. Yeah. So during delivery, I think sometimes people can go in with you and they can visit you even after you've given birth. But I'm sure it was different this time. So how was that for you? Tell us your story.
So rewind a bit. The day before I gave birth, I had gone for a walk with my brother. So that activated my labor and I didn't know.
A walk?
Yeah.
Okay.
My body was ready. So I went for a walk and then I came back to the house and my back is paining. So I'm like, okay, let me just rest. So there are these contractions called Braxton Hicks, which are false contractions. So that's what I thought was happening. So I was like, okay, you're a woman, this will happen, so just persevere. And I persevered, and I was actually in labor in the house at 2 a.m. by myself in my room. And I just thought, it's normal. This is what pregnant women go through.
Sorry, before you continue, I just want to know, where did that perseverance thought come from? Is it, because I know for women, many times when we're growing up, we're taught persevere, even to like period cramps.
Yeah.
So even when we're in extreme pain, we keep thinking about just persevere. Yeah, it's just normal.
It could be worse.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It could be worse. And also, I wasn't full-term yet. I was 38 weeks. Full-term is 40. So I was like, I'm not ready. The baby's not ready yet. So, okay. So I just persevered. And then it got to a point where I could not sit still or lie still. So I was like, okay, let me call my mom. She's like, I think you're in labor. I'm like, okay, let's go to the hospital then. When you go to the hospital, they are like, oh, we don't have any beds for you. And me and my mom are like, pardon? We already paid the deposits. They're like, well, due to COVID, the beds are full because the distancing has to be more, so there are less beds. So I'm like, okay. Well, I'm about to give birth, so what are you gonna do? So anyway, I just let my mom handle it. My mom was able to get a doctor to check me, and I was 8 centimeters dilated. And you're supposed to reach 10.
10 centimeters, yeah.
So I was very close.
And you were still standing?
No.
Okay.
I was sitting. I don't know what I was, but I was not standing. I couldn't say I was sitting either. I was in positions. So yeah, my back is on fire and these doctors are saying there's no bed. And I'm like, so we give birth here on the hospital floor? They're like, no, you just need to go to another hospital. And I'm like, are you going to refund me my money? Because not to the point of paying. They're like, yeah. So we go to another hospital. These ones were more receptive. And they came with a wheelchair at the lift and they took me. Then I was taken to the delivery room. And yeah, my mom was told, go and pay first.
Before
they put the monitor to check if the baby is okay. And then after that, they were like, go and pay first. And then now we'll do the rest after we see payment. So I was like, okay. So I'm there writhing in pain. And I'm just like, okay. So finally my mom pays, and then they start now putting for me an IV and checking again if the baby is okay and checking how far I am. At that time it's like 4 a.m. and I am 9 centimeters. So they're like, okay, you're almost ready. So they call the doctor, those were nurses. They call the doctor, and the doctor comes, and she's like, okay, the doctor is also pregnant. So that was already another problem, because when a pregnant lady is giving birth, she can induce someone who is pregnant in her vicinity.
What?
Yeah. It happened to my mother and my aunt. So we should not be in the same room most of the time. But anyway, so yeah, she came. We delivered the baby. He was cute at 5:20 a.m. And then the baby went now to the nursery. When she goes to the nursery, I tell my mom, go. You just go. Check. You've seen how the baby looks. Make sure you remember that face and make sure she's there. Then they stitch me up, and I go to the ward, the labor ward, the room after.
Yeah.
Maternity, that room. Yeah, so when you go there, I'm asking for the baby. So now this is around 6. So my mom comes, she's like, okay, the baby's fine. I've seen her, she's being cleaned and whatnot. So I'm like, okay, when can I see her? You'll see her. I'm like, no, tell the nurses now I want to see my baby. They're like, okay. She's like, okay. So then she goes tell the nurses are like, okay, they're doing a shift change, so the baby will come. I'm like, okay. So then now my dad also now wants to come, but because of COVID, it's only one person who can visit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and where's your partner during all of this?
So he's at home. Yeah, we were not living together at the time. Yeah, so I had called him. Of course he knew, but he had to wait again, curfew. He had to wait for the curfew to be lifted so that he could come. So now my dad came first. My mom had a sleep, so she gave my dad the sleep there. Then he came and saw me. Congratulations, nini. I'm like, can I see my baby? He's like, I'll ask the nurses. He asks, they say shift change. Then my dad has to go to work, so he goes. Then my mom comes back. She sits with me. I'm like, where is the baby? She's like, they're still doing a shift change. And I'm like, okay, then can you go and stand there at the nursery? I'd rather be alone and you take care of my baby. So yeah, she stood there until now my husband came. So now when he came, it's now when he did the thing. He really demanded to see the baby. And I don't know if it was because we are women that they were not taking us seriously. But when my husband came, in like 10 minutes, the baby was given to us. And I'm like, thanks.
Taking you a while.
Yeah.
You've actually taken me back to, I had even forgotten we were in curfew. We had
Right?
curfew, yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time, you actually had to get a slip for you to go to hospital.
At that hospital.
Oh my gosh, in the middle of the night or early in the morning.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. So, crazy times. But yeah, so
That's
the baby
so hectic. I can't imagine the amount of anxiety you must have had at the time. First of all, with your partner not even being there with you.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, curfew. Then, you're getting to the hospital. They're telling you don't have any beds.
Yeah.
You have to go to another hospital. And anything can happen in between.
Yeah.
Right? Was the distance between the first hospital and the second hospital long?
Not so long.
Okay.
But still, I was 8 centimeters.
Yeah, and in labor.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. That is actually so hectic.
Yeah.
Then, of course, the story you're talking about, not seeing your baby. It's a common thing that happens here, where children are stolen. Mm-hmm. So I can just imagine the amount of anxiety throughout this period.
After you give birth, they encourage you to go to the toilet.
Oh, to the toilet.
So that they see how you are, if you're healing properly and all the things. I told them I'm not going before I see my baby.
Wow.
And let me see the baby first, then I'll go. yeah, it was that serious. The anxiety was real.
Hey, well, okay then.
Yeah.
At least, but baby Yoli is still, she's with us, so
She's
we're glad. Okay,
Yes.
so now you've given birth, we're going into postpartum, right? And postpartum life is already, I think, challenging for many women. It can be a lot. There's the body changes. Now you have a baby before you didn't really have a baby. It's a lot, just I think psychologically, physically, all of that.
Yeah.
But now on top of that, there's all of that, then there's the dealing with the pandemic, right? And I know usually for many women, what helps a lot is that you have other people around you. So you have maybe your sisters, your mom, your aunts, whatever it is, your friends helping you out. Was that the case for you? Like, did you actually have people really coming and being hands-on and helping you out? How was postpartum for you? Was it more difficult than you imagined it would be?
Yes, it was more difficult because of the pandemic. Not many people could visit.
Yeah.
So, the day I came home, my sisters were there. It was a good time. Then they had to leave. And now you're there. I was at home for the first 4 or 5 months of my baby's life. So at least I had the support of my mom.
But at home, you mean your parents'
Oh yeah,
house?
Sorry, I
Okay.
was at my mother's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had her support, and I can't say that I wanted visitors really, because again, the pandemic. Now I'm vulnerable, and also the baby is vulnerable. So I was like, no visitors, please. But somehow, still some people just are like, we have to see the baby, it's tradition. So some people came, unwanted visits, if I can say. But yeah, I just told them, wear a mask, wash your hands, usual. But yeah, it was a bit lonely at night because again, my partner wasn't with me, so I'm dealing with this crying baby alone, and I'm also still healing, and you have to carry the baby, and you get so tired because they're waking up every 2 or 3 hours to feed. So yeah, I ended up co-sleeping because carrying her from the crib to the bed was too much for me.
You ended up what?
Co-sleeping, sleeping with her in the same bed. Yeah. That's how I was able to cope with the night feedings. And then during the day, at least now because my mom is there, I would just literally give the baby to her and have a shower. Something simple like that was a luxury. Yeah, having a shower was a great time. And having a meal alone, because the baby is always feeding or needs a diaper change or needs attention. Yeah,
that sounds like a lot. It's those little things I think we don't think about when we think about motherhood. And I can imagine it for you being almost alone. You're dealing with the pandemic. I'm glad at least you were home. I can only imagine if you were living by yourself.
Yeah.
That would have been quite
hectic.
I think it would have been very difficult and heavy. So I'm glad. Okay. And let me take you back to your pregnancy. Were you able to have did you imagine having a baby shower, celebrating with your friends? Is that something you were able to do, or do you feel you were robbed of that experience? Or did you just not care for it?
I wasn't asking for it, but my friends and my sisters were like, you have to celebrate. So they surprised me with a baby shower. It was at an open area, and it was a good break from the pandemic because you just breathe out a bit. You're like, okay, let's just celebrate for just 3 hours, and then we go back to
then we're back in the pandemic.
We're back in the pandemic. So yeah, it was I was grateful that I actually had that experience because I didn't know that I needed to see my people in that time, because they really gave me the encouraging words and it's gonna be all right.
Yeah. And just being gathered with people. I think that's something many of us have missed
Yeah.
in the pandemic time. And of course, we can connect like on social media and phone calls, but then just being in each other's physical presence, I think makes a huge difference. And people hugging you, just telling you good stuff, encouraging you, all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you're able to. I was at that baby shower. I remember we had a great time.
Hey, we had a good time.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to do that for yourself. And you looked so beautiful. You were able to get like dolled up, put on makeup. Yeah, and we had a great time.
We danced.
This was fantastic. We did, yeah, we danced and we played games and all of that. Okay, so the next question I'm going to ask you, this you can answer if you would like to answer. If not, we'll take it out.
Okay.
But I'd just like to know, you are 25 now, right? And you were pregnant and gave birth from age 24. Yeah. I think that's okay, maybe in our times that 24, 23.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's quite young.
Yeah.
Would you say that affected you mentally? Is it something you just took in stride? Was it a bit difficult for you to accept?
Well, I'm trying to see if what I'm going to say is if I'm allowed to say what I'm going to say.
What do you want to say
about my mother?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your story. You can if.
I mean, yeah. Okay. So my mom had a baby. My mom had my brother when she was young. So she told us about her experience and how her mother helped her and how it affected her and her story. And when I realized that I was pregnant, I was like, it's going to be okay. Even if it's going to be hard, it's going to be okay, because I knew I had my mother's support, even my mother-in-law's support. I had it from level 0. It was there from the beginning. Mentally, it actually wasn't so bad for me because I kind of wanted it. Yeah. Not that I was looking for it, but if it was going to come, I was going to be like, it's fine. Yeah. So it was something that kind of helped me grow up. Like, it made me more mature, more responsible, more aware of how things work in this life. Yeah. So, but that was during pregnancy. After childbirth, my mental went a bit low because of the isolation. Okay, when I moved out of my mother's house, that was a bit of a tough time because I didn't have any help. So it was just me and my husband and the baby, and my husband is going to work and me, I work from home. So I have my workload, I have the baby, I have myself, and I have the house. So that time was a bit hard because you do so much work, and at the end of the day, you still know tomorrow there's so much work to do. Like, there was no space to breathe. So I was extremely tired all the time. Yeah.
And how did you cope with all of that during that time?
My sisters and my best friend really advocated for me to go out, like get out of the house, even if it's for 2 minutes. Get out,
get time away from the baby.
Leave the baby.
Yeah,
the baby will be fine. She has a father. Leave the baby alone. So the first time I went out, I remember I just went to the shops with my sister, and Am I allowed to say brand names?
No.
We went to this gift shop, and I remember I was so scared to leave the baby alone. It's not, I had expressed the milk, everything was fine. He knows how to change diapers. It was just the mommy in me being like, what if the baby needs me and not the father? But anyway, so I went for shopping and my mind was not there fully, but it was a good break. Then we went for other things. We went recently, my best friend took me out for a movie. Just getting out of the house and relaxing, like trying your best to relax. Like even on Sundays, we go for walks as a family. That also helps because cabin fever is real. Looking at the same walls is a lot. So yeah, going for walks or journaling. Wow. I bought another journal, in fact, because that one became full. Yeah, so journaling and treating myself to good food.
Okay. It's interesting that you just mentioned very simple things. Yeah.
It's the small things that
It's
count.
the small things.
It's really the
That's
small
true.
things.
And that's very interesting that even like going to the shop and just leaving your baby at home seems to be something that's difficult to do. Yeah. Is it like some form of mom guilt? I hear the term mom guilt a lot. Is that something you deal with?
On a daily. And mom guilt, especially like when you're leaving the baby, you feel like you're the worst person in the world. Because you're like, you're leaving your baby for who? You're the one who is the primary food source.
Yeah.
And also comfort. And what if the baby gets hurt? What will you say you are doing? Yeah, things like that. Yeah.
I wonder if dads have dad guilt. That's something I'd like to know.
Don't.
I really
So
I wonder if they deal with that. I'd like to talk to a man and
You
figure like, do you have dad guilt? Do you feel bad when you leave your kid at home or anything like that? That would be interesting to know.
I asked my partner, my husband, whatever. I asked my husband, and he said he does, but he feels like validated in the fact that he's really now working for a real purpose. Like he's working for money for school fees, money for this, money for that, and also just like he's going out there to make her life better. Yeah, so he feels a bit, his dad guilt is not as much as my mom guilt.
Okay. I remember reading somewhere once where, this is just a side note, where there was a father who was talking about how those first years, because the child is so attached to the mom, sometimes it's easy for the dad to detach because they feel it's like some sort of even like shame comes from what they perceive as a rejection from that child. Yeah. And I think it takes a lot for, even a dad to still try and connect with the child even during that period. But I think what some fathers do, many fathers even maybe, is like you push yourself away from the child at that period. Then later on, the kid sort of connects with both of you, but sometimes for some people now you lose it after that. So
but them, they're bonded. In fact, sometimes I'm a bit jealous. They're so cute. Yeah.
Okay then. So how is it now navigating motherhood and with the pandemic? I mean, the pandemic has evolved. I'm sure even your motherhood journey has evolved over time. Yeah. How has it been?
Well, first, the thing that I realized is I need the help. Regardless of, I'm a strong woman, I need the help. That's
a very powerful statement. Like just saying, I need the help.
I need it.
Even like for your mental health, you're like, I need the help. That's a powerful statement. Okay.
So we got our house help. Then she left in December. But anyway, I got some casual help, a day scholar, that's the word. I got a day scholar for like 3 months, and now I have a permanent house help. and she has helped me get out of the house more. As in, it's great. Like, I spent the last weekend not in the house.
The whole weekend?
The whole Friday to Sunday.
Wow.
Amazing.
Growth.
So yeah, with the pandemic, now that there are no more masks, I don't know how I feel about it. Sometimes I still wear a mask, but I don't see the need. So like, we just clean our house very regularly and make sure the children who the baby are playing with have washed their hands. I tell them, have you washed your hands? You want to play with the baby? Go and wash your hands. And like, but then go and wash your hands if you want to play with her. So yeah, just trying to maintain some form of cleanliness. Yeah. What was your question?
Just about you journey through motherhood during the pandemic. How has that been for you? You're pretty much answering it. That's fine. You're good. Don't worry.
Yeah, so motherhood has just been okay now that I have the help. Now with this time period, it has been a bit better. And yeah, I'm out more.
Okay. Do you have any safe spaces that you can run to seek solace as you navigate your way through motherhood and all of that?
Yeah. My sister is also a mother, so we really talk about motherhood things with her. Also my really close family friend called Suzanne. Also my mother and my mother-in-law. We can really get to the nitty-gritties of this child. But yeah, so who else? Of course, my husband. Should have said that at first. My husband. Myself. When I need to do some introspection, I can really just give myself 10 minutes, tell the baby, go outside and play. Let me gather myself.
That's so beautiful that you have safe space for yourself.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
I had to be because of the pandemic. You were isolated, so I learned to talk to myself. Yeah, and my circle of friends. Yeah, those are the ones I can't really complain to about, like cost of living or, the baby cried today for 6 hours. It's an exaggeration. Yeah, but yeah, those little things I can complain about to them. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Fantastic. And my last question, do you have any tips for women who are going to be first-time mothers now during the pandemic? I know it's evolved and changed, but,
Yeah. Find the people that you can trust health-wise, like the ones who they are taking care of themselves for real, so that they can be around your baby when you need that time to rest, so that you don't feel guilty. Yeah, find those people.
Okay, that's true. And I think if it's your close circle of friends or those people who you seek comfort in and all of that, then they will do that for you.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah. Okay then, beautiful, fantastic. So to wrap up, I'd like you to pick one of these question cards. Don't look at them, just pick randomly. Then I'll read out the question to you and you will tell us your answer. Do you just pick the one at the bottom?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't at the
bottom. Okay, so the question. As the world adjusts to a world post-COVID, what's one thing from the peak of the pandemic during lockdowns and curfews that you would change, and what's one thing that you'd keep the same?
One thing I would keep the same is work from home. I feel like that was it was a good change in the work environment because employers realized you can still do the work at home and still produce the same throughput. You don't have to go to the office. Maybe it's because I'm a homebody, but
No, I really feel you on that one.
Yeah, I really appreciated the work from home. Also, it helped me to really see the milestones of the baby. Like, I could really just watch her grow in front of my eyes. One thing I would change, maybe the curfews. I feel like it brought such restrictions that were not necessary. Like, it caused so much grief and hardships, and could have just been okay. Right now we're not in a curfew and things are fine. Maybe we had panicked as a country. So that was what people were doing, so that's what we decided to do. But I wished we didn't have to go through that curfew. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. That is all from me. Thank you for sharing your story for us and for doing this with me. I celebrate you for doing all of that during a pandemic and being here today and being a fantastic mom and the fantastic woman that you are.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best as you continue on this journey.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem.